Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Kitcardirect and MK Sportscars. Week 3, January 2020. Friday again, so sorry, a little bit later than planned as normal. Steaming on, 100% into it now. Christmas, New Year seems a bit distant in the past now. So, yeah, a couple of things we're going to on. I'm having a cup of tea and then we're looking at some emails and questions that we get all the time. And I thought you'd show me something a bit interesting, which is wheel weights and tyre weights and the differences in and how to lighten your car. So we thought we'd do a little experiment for you and show you it live, and then you can watch it down here. So what we've got was a standard set of scales here, and then we've got a 15-inch wheel, and here we go, 15-inch wheel with a tyre. This has got on here a 205 15, which is pretty much a standard sort of setup you may have on the rear of your car. So we're just doing it on the rears at the moment, so I'll give you an example. And this comes in at a whopping, it's quite heavy. Turn the scales on, Sean, it does help. There we go. This comes in, it's a fairly heavy wheel and tyre there. 60, I'm going to say 16.5 kilos, let's round it up. And then we've got it's on a Pro Race 1.2. 7-inch rim, and then we've got a 7-inch rim here on a 13-inch. We've got a slick on this, which customer runs regular. It's a set of his wheels off his car that we just pulled in. He normally does conversions over the 2. So we've got Pro Race 1.2, and we've got a 200 by 540 13 on this slick. And the difference here, this is way lighter, I can feel it already. You're looking at a 5 kilo saving per quarter, so you're nearly at 20 kilos on your car. That's a pretty cheap performance enhancement there, just changing wheels and tyres alone. So inertial weight, you know, this is, as we call it, you know, unsprung weight as well. So it does make quite a bit of difference. So there's a little bit of a sort of a fact for you, a little bit of intro. We're going to do an intro in a minute as well, and I'll probably cut and pause, because what we've done, we've weighed the R1 engine, the 5VY, and that came in at 65 kilos for the project we're doing for Phil on the Hayabusa Turbo. And I'm going to go and get some scales now, some heavier ones. We're going to set up and we're going to lay it live, this Hayabusa engine that we're just going to put in. So be back to you in a second. So we got a weight of 92.3. You can probably just about see that down there, but you probably can't. It's on the scales, it's probably just switched off. 92.3. Almost 30 kilos difference in weight between the Busa and the R1 5VY engine. So another little fact, you know, because I think these come in at about, if it was a Gen 1, about 175, 180. The R1s tend to creep in about 175, 180, but a bit of a weight, but you've got torque difference as well. But people getting asked all the time the questions, how much they weigh. There you go, guys. 92 point whatever 3 kilos, and an R1 at 60, I think came in 64.3. So we're out in the workshop now. This Colt catering rolled into us yesterday. It's a 420R, pretty new, it's on a 18 plate. Very nice car. Came in, we've been in for flat floor and corner weight setup on this. This came in at 568 kilos, but it is weather gear on, doors on, it's fully carpeted, it's got a heater, etc. I'll show you the engine in here. 2 litre Duratec as standard on the 420Rs, and you got the heater in there. It's a large battery and no lightweight stuff on this. So actually for 568 kilos, I suppose it ain't that bad. They do say, oh, 500 kilos catering all the time. You can get them down to it, but you've got weather gear, windscreen, wipers, washer bottles, and etc. all in there. This is dry sumped as well. You know, it's quite pretty light car really, I suppose, when you take all things in consideration. Lovely little car, nice colour actually, quite like this, and the detail of the carbon stripe, which I think is a nice touch on there. Cameraman's getting a picture of that, and also he sort of bled the carbon all the way through in this. And when the cameraman will come round and show you inside, he's sort of it's a carbon vinyl wrapped in the dashboard. Dashboard's carbon, and it's got carbon effect vinyl interior as well. It's a really nice detailed car actually. But then the only thing it reflects on that is price. I think these come in around about 45,000. So it's a fair chunk of money, of course. And when you look at what we do and the MKs, etc., coming in way under half the price for similar performance, then you know, it's a stretch for some people, but it is a nice, tidy car quite happy I'm fitting the customer now. It was oversteering on the back, so it's been sorted out. If you're looking at cars, getting it set up, corner weight, foiler line, give us a call. Got some space in February, not much, but we've got a bit of time left in February, so give us a call and we can try and get you booked in. Right, so back on the Hayabusa demo car that we've been building. Ben's just working on it now. He's putting in the hydraulic clutch switch. This has moved, as you probably see, from over there to here, because it's going to go into the flat floor setup. So we put the clutch switch in. You have to push the clutch in to engage it to start the vehicle. We kind of, as it would be on a bike, we keep that as a little safety feature, so people, you know, it's nice and easy to get into the vehicle and start it. You can disable it. We tend not to when we do it on the factory ones. We've installed the final part of the paddle shift, which was in there now for the gear change. Seats have gone in. The MK branded harnesses are the 3-inch 4-point belts. These are FIA approved and they're all date stamped, so pretty good date on them, 2024 for those. So if you're looking to upgrade your harnesses or you expired on your dates and you've got an MK and you want to brand them up, they are FIA. We do 5 points, 6 points, 4-point harnesses on those. So this will go in tomorrow. Corner weight this, get it up, a few bits to do, cover on the boot to finish off, and 4-wheel alignment, and then we've already applied for IVA on this, so this will go through in the next, hopefully within the next month. We're just waiting for a date to come back still. They're a little bit slow on that at the moment, don't know why. So yeah, tunnel top to go in and then she's good to go. So yeah, we'll move on. Okay, so progress on the Lotus VII, could call it a Caterham, I suppose. Either way, this is an early car, so it's a 1964. Can't remember which year Caterham took over, so we'll call it a Lotus VII with a pre-cross flow engine in it. We had problems we spoke about last week with the clutch, and the engines had to come out. The 95%, as we called it, sort of rebuilt by a company and redone, but we had brake leaks and etc. We're finding little niggly problems in the tunnel. Things have not been secured around the prop shaft with resecuring, but the clutch we've done and resorted it out because it wasn't biting. It had the wrong slave cylinder in there, so sorry, not slave, it had the wrong cylinder bearing in now, so we've rehooked it up here outside of the car, make sure it's all operating, which it is. It's kind of one of them things that you don't want to put it all back in, find it's not operational, so we've done that, hooked it up. This will go back in tomorrow, and then we'll start working on a few little electrical gremlins that have turned out with this. I think it's got some dodgy earths here and there, but yeah, love this little car, really tidy, very light. We might get this on the scales at some point and see what it weighs, but very early car, like it a lot. Right, next. Right, so we're on with Project Phil's car, the 550 booster turbo, which we just earlier we would have seen it we weighed. Engine's all out now. Disconnected all the radiators off, etc. Pulled all the wiring harness out of this. It was quite heavy actually, the wiring harness and everything else coming at 8 kilos. I was stonkingly surprised about what it all weighed. So that's out. Joseph's, we've pulled the diff because it's had a 362 in there, which is no good for what he's going to be doing. So we've got to put a 314 crown wheel and pinion into that, so to make sure the gearing's right for the booster. He's got all that power. We're going to make sure he gets plenty of top speed. This was the R1 engine we pulled out, and we weighed it with that with a cradle on. So that came in at 64, I think it's 64.2 kilos. That's a 5VY engine that we've pulled. And now Joseph's on at the back. So it's going to look bad, but we're stripping this right back. Cameraman's going to follow me round. Right. He's got a difficult bit of a juggling act at the moment. We're full up, and we hopefully have got a couple of cars going out next week. So once they've gone, we'll have a bit more room. So the back panel's off, and Phil's going to have kittens when he sees if he watches the video. We've had to pull the back panel off because we couldn't get the fuel tank out. Because the way they fixed it was alright at the back here. We couldn't get any of the stud fixings out. So if you're building your cars, I mean, our ones are done differently now how you do it, but there's a fixing normally in here which the cameraman can show you. We'll pop that up. This is one of our, as I say, the CBR chassis car. We put the fixing down into here now, so you can take this tank out in situ. If you're fixing it on the back here, there's no way of getting a nut and bolt out, especially if it's an Allen key one. So we've had to take the whole back panel off. Also, we are upgrading this tank, because you can probably see this is a very small tank. I think it's 20 litres, that is. That's not going to be enough to run. I think he's probably going to end up very low miles to the gallon running a booster turbo, and if we run out of in about 5 or 6 laps, he'll be running out of fuel. So we're putting a bigger tank in there, and we're modifying that because I had the R1 pump in there, which we're removing, and it's having an aftermarket pump. Once we clean all this out, and then we're going to set about putting a cradle in here and bracing up the diff, because it's way more power. So you'll probably see that some of the things that we do are standard now. Normally we have fixings in here now, for years now, there's fixings in for stiffening the diff up as well as standard. So if you took this chassis here, if the cameraman takes a photo of that, I'll point it out, fixings here, here, here and here, 4 corners, plus also a diff bracing. And we'll cut and we'll go over to the other car. You'll see, yep, you can see here, diff braces in, and also the 4 corners for suspension mount pickup points as well. Additional bracing that's also been, it's just where we've taken over the project. You know, 3 years ago we've added in some other supports and that to make sure that we're happy with it. We've also changed the width and height for the fuel tanks, so they're easily removed, so that you can actually service your car and maintain it yourself. So there's a few changes there. The car looks a bit stripped down, unfortunately, but it's, you know, it's the Project 550 that for Phil, and we're going to make sure it's all bang on and right for him. But it's torn down, and then we'll set about start making the cradle for the. I think it's next week we start making the cradle, putting that in for the engine and everything else, and start doing the cradle for the rear. And we'll show you that, of course, keep you interested. I'm sure you want to see you do your own projects. You might even do some of this stuff in your own garage and you think that's a good idea, I want to do it. But it's quite a bit of work involved when you're trying to do these anchoring transplants. So some other jobs we've been doing, we'll show you over here. So it's Project Fields, and we'll move over to the next one. So workload, it's just not slowing down at the moment. We're selling kits quite well at the moment, so we've folded up and bent up. We have these fuel tanks, we've got 5 here ready for the next kits to go out that we've just got to do final welding, but I thought I'd show you those as well. I'll pull this around here, this side. These are, we have these laser cut up and we fold them in house and then weld them up, etc. We also make our baffles. These have small corner bits cut out for the fuel to flow through, but they slot in into that section there. It's baffle from both sides in the tank. This is designed here for, this is in a RX-5 one, so we use a standard pump and that welds on. And then we also have on the bottom of this the hole cut out ready for the swirl pot that's welded up. We put a 6-inch swirl pot on the base of this as well, 6 in for your standard Mazda pump. So you can use it, it's going to be suitable for track or road. You know, if you're going around a roundabout even, you don't want fuel surge, let alone on a track, especially if you're turbo in your car at some point, you don't want fuel surge and it leaning out. So we make sure they're well baffled in there, whether it be a Booster one or an RX-5 one, it's the same concept that we use in that respect. So they've been done, we folded up 5 ready for the next kits that are going out and welded up. And then Project S2000, which is down there, we're still sorting the exhaust out on that, a few bits, and we'll show you once it's finalised. But we've also modified the prop on that today. So if you're looking at a S2000 conversion, what we've done, we've made the S2000 front nose for the gearbox onto the Ford Sierra diff, because normally when we do these cars we do put S2000 diffs in, but it already had an existing Sierra one in there, so we've modified and made the prop, and it's just got to be final balancing on that, and that's done, ready to go into the vehicle. So okay. So that's what we've been up to, sort of a snippet of the last sort of week. More cars coming in next week, I think we will, but we've got cars going out, hopefully. We've got a couple of little minor projects there that we're battling up for people. So that's where we're at. You know where we are. Like, share, but give us a message, shout us on the phone, drop us an email. I hope you have a good week, guys, and we'll catch you next time.